Holy smokes. AMD, not really AMD, OpenAI does it again. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions here with a super quick market update. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen the news. First off, NASDAQ market hits new all-time highs, exceeding the highs that we made on Friday of last week. And that's with the government still being shut down. Like we said yesterday, again, markets are still incredibly irrational, pushing to all-time highs, even when our economy looks incredibly weak, the labor market looks incredibly weak, and inflation is working against the Fed's target of 2%. Again, all negative news aside, what was a huge positive catalyst today? AMD. I want to talk about this. I want to kind of like share a little bit more of what I've learned, and I still plan to read more and learn more about this deal. So please, after you watch this video, if there's something that you want me to know or understand about this deal, I'm encouraging you, either comment down below or share it with me via Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, it's Ricky Gutierrez with 2 Z's. I'm verified. All the other accounts are fake. I promise you, I never follow or message you first. It's the third link in the description down below if you don't follow me already. With that being said, I'm eager to learn more on how OpenAI has all of these chip-based companies by the neck, to say the least. I don't know if you guys heard this deal, and from my understanding, I don't understand how this is a W for AMD. But let me just go ahead and share it. So AMD at one point was hitting highs of 227. Previously, it was trading at 165. So 165, it has already had an incredible uptick in 2025. It's had one of its best recoveries from lows of $77 all the way back to highs of what it was at of 165. Now, at one point, we hit highs of 227, which now we've retraced to 200. And that's, of course, because any reaction tends to be an overreaction in this market. We saw a little retracement. Market looks like it kind of flatlined here. We'll see how things continue. Let me just share the news. AMD stock extends a gain of up to 35% on the day after its deal with OpenAI. AMD is on track for its biggest single day of its market cap gain in history. So this is what we need to know about OpenAI. For those that don't know what OpenAI is, it's a private company. It's actually a non-profit if you look it up. A little weird. Non-profit, amazing structure. I mean, I want to be set up just like this. OpenAI is a non-profit, but yet it facilitates all these hundreds of billions of dollars worth of deals, or hundreds of, many billions, because they're not all hundreds of billions, not the one with AMD, but close to it. A $100 billion investment from NVIDIA, up to a 10% ownership. That's what was announced today. The partnership today with AMD and OpenAI is up to a 10% ownership in AMD. A 500 billion Stargate investment, a $500 billion valuation. How is OpenAI still owned by a non-profit parent company? Pretty wild, right? Every day is a bull day. OpenAI has $3 billion in revenue. It uses its $3 billion of revenue to buy $300 billion in data centers from Oracle and NVIDIA. Then they make another deal and another deal, one after another, now with AMD. The only thing that limits them is the investors' money. And then, of course, there's a lot of inappropriate ones that I couldn't really share with you because it tried to show kind of like how AMD, NVIDIA, Oracle, Stargate, and OpenAI are all kind of just like funneling money to one another. I'm sure a lot of you guys have kind of been reading for the past few weeks. They're all just announcing partnerships with one another. And okay, let me just explain this. These AI deals are getting creative. First, NVIDIA invests $100 billion into OpenAI, which then OpenAI uses the money to then buy NVIDIA chips. What? Now OpenAI is investing into AMD chips, which is what was announced today, which OpenAI will use to buy its 10% equity, up to 10% equity in AMD. This is the part that is just odd. This is why and it's just my opinion. Like, first off, this is a huge positive catalyst for AMD. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. And most importantly, AMD wasn't the best performing, AMD was not Wall Street's favorite for a really long time. So I'm kind of actually happy to see AMD kind of make a comeback, especially in 2025. This thing was on a consistent downtrend pattern. Oh man, wait, no, let's look at the week time frame. Yeah, it's had multiple retracements and hard retracements. Every single time that it skyrockets, it has sold off about 50%. It rallies once again, highs of 227. This was early 2024, and then it came crashing down to lows of 70. Again, that's over a 50% retracement. Now we hit highs of, again, that 227. It looks like momentum is not slowing down. AI boom is in full effect. OpenAI boom is in full effect. That being said, we could possibly push up even higher. I'm not undermining that. I know that these markets are rational, and irrational markets support irrational valuations. But the thing with AMD is that it always tends to crash, at least 50%. And that's because I think it puts itself in situations like this. When you actually look at the breakdown of this, I think this article does a fair job explaining it. So if you guys see this very quickly, it says AMD announced an AI chip deal with OpenAI on Monday, sending the semiconductor stock soaring. This deal has also opened AI talks and owning up to 10% stake in AMD. This all comes after NVIDIA's inked a $100 billion investment into OpenAI, which its brokeraging partner with Intel, INTC, and Alibaba. So if we look at the actual breakdown and what it explains, it shows that OpenAI will actually have the ability to buy up to 10% stake of AMD, 160 million shares at just 1 cent. Before, this is what I want you, this is the math that I did. Before this announcement, AMD was trading at a price of 165. I'm not even taking into consideration this 23% push, because now it would be a lot more. But if OpenAI were to execute based off of its tiers, is my understanding, after reaching specific revenue and thresholds, it will have the ability to buy these up to 10% ownership of AMD. 160 million shares of AMD at 1% when it was trading at least at 165, but now at 200, we're talking about, if I did the math correctly, like $26 billion worth of, AMD, 10% stake. Now it's going to be closer to about $30 to $33 billion. And remember this is all happening because AMD is acknowledging that it's going to give up to 10% just so it can provide chips to OpenAI. And OpenAI obviously doesn't solely just want to depend on NVIDIA, which is the world's leader in semiconductor chips. So OpenAI wants options. But now with its option, it also wants the option to own up to 10% because it's a nonprofit. Think about that. People like you and I are playing checkers. Companies like OpenAI are playing chess. They're a nonprofit. How is it that a nonprofit can come to its point where, yes, it's going to be investing into all of these chips and partnering with AMD, but now in return, by meeting all these thresholds of how much they're buying into AMD, they get awarded? It's like getting a store credit. You spend $100,000 with us and then getting a store credit of $100,000. Damn, sign me up. But again, obviously, OpenAI is leading the space in AI. And it's a very trendy stock. It's a private company. It's the top dog. So obviously, I have a lot to learn about OpenAI and its dominance. I think that's the best way to put it. I'm not here to discredit or undermine OpenAI's ability. Obviously, it has huge leverage. It has led this AI boom. It is causing companies like NVIDIA reach new all-time highs of a $4.5 trillion market cap. And I really do believe, based off of this action, I think anyone with common sense can see that, wow, AMD is willing to give up 10% of its ownership, of its equity, to this company just to be able to work with OpenAI. That's leverage. I kind of got to respect it. Do I think it's a smart move for AMD? Doesn't matter what I think. It just means it's an aggressive move, and it looks like, obviously, based off maybe the numbers that they ran and specific targets, it's going to be in their best interest to be able to work with companies like OpenAI to be an alternative to AMD when it comes down to these chip manufacturers. So again, just wanted to have and express a little bit more of an understanding of what caused this boom. So yes, AMD and OpenAI did set up a partnership. So OpenAI has an alternative in who it can buy chips from, not just NVIDIA. But in return, if OpenAI meets specific thresholds, it can buy up to 10% ownership of AMD at 1 penny a share. Damn. Happy Monday. So again, we'll see how things continue to develop. Is this market an AI boom, or is it just an incredibly bullish time to be invested into AI? I don't think there's any right or wrong opinion because it's all based off of risk tolerance. I think that you can be viewed as one of the smartest people in the world by being super aggressive, investing into, AI. And if the markets continue to rally, you look like a genius. But obviously, after an incredible rally, if the risk is just too high for you, I don't think that you should be discouraged to respect your risk tolerance, right? It could possibly continue to go up. We all know that markets are rational and they can continue to push. But I think that also by you taking into consideration risk management, that's never a negative thing that, should be frowned upon. You're looking out for yourself for a specific reason because some red flags are there. And remember, what might be a good investment for someone else doesn't mean that it has to align with your criteria. We're all wired in different ways. We all invest and trade in different ways. And that's never something that you should be ashamed of. It's something that you should stay true to because it's how you're wired and what you feel comfortable with, right? With that being said, you also don't have to be super aggressive with every trade or investment that you take. Even if you just buy one share of a company and you think that it might be lucrative, just to kind of test it out. And it's to have some maybe skin in the game to follow up with it. However it is that you choose to play it, have fun with it. Don't overcomplicate it. And I'm very excited to do my part in keeping you guys up to date. So again, I hope that you learned something new. And if you did, please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing. Also, do not forget, if you feel like there is something that I should know about AMD, OpenAI, NVIDIA, any of these chip manufacturers or this AI bubble, I would really love to learn more. And maybe if I find it to be, unique enough, I can make a video about it. So again, just reach out to me via Instagram, and that's linked in the description down below. So I appreciate your time. Hope that earned a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And don't forget, if you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, that's the second link in the description down below. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.